We don't have a quorum yet, so we're not going to vote on the first item to approve the previous minutes, but we'd like to have you make your presentation anyway. But let's take the roll anyway.
Sure.
I feel outnumbered.
You and me.
Technically, it's not a meeting.
I can announce the presentation.
Sure.
All right, so item 2 is the presentation from the Albany County Airport Authority. I believe Phil Calderon from the airport and Chris Quinn are here, as well as others.
I'll introduce
Are here this evening.
So also joining us today is Matt Kinnan, who's our Director of Governmental Affairs, Rich Avedon, who is the Director and Head of CHA, and Kelly Monroe, who is our Project Manager on our major expansion project that we're going to be talking about somewhat tonight. And thank you very much for inviting us. We appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk about the great things happening at our airport. I think today is a really great day to be talking about the exciting things happening in aviation generally. Tomorrow, both Hoppers and the American Travel Association are predicting it will be the busiest travel day in 30 years in aviation history. So that's a really, I think, remarkable accomplishment given where we were just a couple of years ago. And that's the good news for the industry, that travelers are back, and despite the increases in airfares and all the other challenges that have confronted the industry, people are flying, and they're flying in record numbers. Those challenges, though, are still there, and they're significant. They relate to labor shortages, particularly with regard to pilot shortages and certified mechanics and ground crews who are unable to maintain the level of service that airlines experienced pre-pandemic. There are also supply chain issues. And we all saw the meltdown in the industry during the Christmas and spring break travel periods. And the FAA, largely as a result of its own issues with technical problems because of antiquated computer software and other related issues. Challenges with air traffic controllers, as an example, is a major problem at major airports like JFK and LaGuardia, where they've had to reduce flights as a result of those shortages. The airline industry as a whole has been pressured to reduce the number of flights so that they don't have those kinds of meltdowns that they experienced earlier in the year and at the end of last year. That's resulted in probably some of the major airlines reducing flights as much as 12 to 15% overall. A lot of airports have been significantly impacted by those reductions, particularly small and medium hub airports, where the number of flights or routes have been substantially reduced. Fortunately, that hasn't been the case for our airport. We have seen a steady employment level at around 85 to 90% of pre-pandemic level employments. Pre-pandemic, we were close to 1.5 million. We're projecting this year, and we're on track for 1.4 million. You may have seen last week the Business Review looked at our employment numbers and compared them to other metropolitan areas that Business Review covers. And their analysis of that review is that our employment numbers statistically are higher than major metropolitan areas. But we're tracking national averages, and we hope that going forward, as some of these issues that the airlines are confronting abate, that we'll be the beneficiary of that. What it has meant is that while we've worked very, very hard to increase the number of routes at our airport and bring new airlines, we have a lot of leads, we have a lot of possibilities. Stay tuned. I think there will be exciting announcements very soon. But because of what's been going on industry-wide, there have been challenges for all airports. And so we are looking forward to soon coming out of those kinds of situations. The good news for us is that because our employment numbers have been so strong, We have actually had, in many cases, with different revenue streams like parking and fuel sales, record revenues. And so that's the good news for us. So those record revenues have enabled us to increase our reserves and to invest in needed infrastructure improvements at our airport. So that's something that we're very pleased with, as well as how things are working operationally. We just recently, you may have heard about this, had Siena College come in to do, over the spring break, do a survey of traveler satisfaction with our airport. And it covered a multitude of issues, and those results are still being reviewed. The data that was collected still being reviewed and analyzed, and they'll be shared with our board, hopefully at the next board meeting. But what I can share with you is some preliminary analysis of that data. And the preliminary analysis is that folks who are going through our airport have a very, very high favorability impression of the airport, largely based on cleanliness and safety and a feeling of security. We've worked very, very hard through the pandemic and post-pandemic to achieve that kind of traveler awareness. I think I talked the last time I had the honor of addressing this group about our efforts to achieve GBAC, that's Global Biorisk Accreditation, and ACI, Airport Council Industry Accreditation for our health, safety, and wellness protocols at the airport. At the time that we achieved both of those accreditations, only 4 other airports in the world had achieved those accreditations. Now many other airports have followed suit, and we have maintained those accreditations. And so we're very proud of that fact, and the credit, in my opinion, goes to a remarkable team at the airport. Just a few weeks ago, we had the FAA on site for our annual Part 139 accreditation review. The FAA comes out annually. It's a necessary inspection for us to continue our certification as an airport that serves carrier operations. They review everything from our flight facilities to our airport fire and rescue operations, our airfield operations, our snow and ice operations, our airport emergency plans. And I am thrilled to report to you that for the first time in the airport's history, we had perfect compliance with FAA standards. That's a remarkable achievement for any airport. To have only just a few, we had perfect compliance. And again, I believe the credit goes to a remarkable team at the airport that works very, very hard, is very, very dedicated, and is now getting ready to begin a whole host of projects that we will and have actually started to begin for spring and summer preparations for. We talked the last time I was out here about our major runway rehabilitation project. That first phase of it took place in the fall of last year. The second phase will begin in a few weeks, and that's a multi-million-dollar project. Along with that, we had the good news in February that our application for federal funding under the bipartisan infrastructure legislation that provides for the next 5 years $1 billion a year in competitive grants for airports around the country to improve infrastructure. We received $2 million to improve our air traffic control tower. And so that project will be moving forward late summer for some critical and important improvements to the air traffic control tower. I think I've talked about the fact that prior to my getting there, the airport hadn't completed a master plan in over 30 years. The criticality of that is that without a master plan, you're unable to get discretionary funding. It's something that the airport didn't actively pursue. We now actively pursue discretionary funding opportunities at our airport. We are in the process of our master plan, and we will have a public hearing, and I hope you'll all take part in it. You'll get notice of it. That's coming up June 20th, and we're looking forward to the first public hearing on what will be the preliminary presentations of what we believe are important developments. For example, modernizing our cargo facilities, expanding our private jet hangar. Right now, our Millionaire hangar is doing extremely well. It's a major revenue source for us, and we're at capacity. So we're looking at growing and modernizing our facilities, and so that presentation will be an important one, and I look forward to your participation in it and your feedback. You'll get a detailed report on it, and you'll be invited to give your comments, and we look forward to reporting to you on that important effort. And we're also going to be moving forward this summer on our major terminal expansion project. We had the opportunity to, again, brief you on that a couple of times. Most recently when we came to you for authorization to increase our capital plan. That's a $100 million project. It is being funded through grants, $60 million through a competitive upstate New York State Airport Improvement Grant. We received the largest grant out of that process in the state, largest by twice of the amount any other airport received. And we're supplementing it with $40 million worth of federal, primarily bipartisan infrastructure funding that will allow us to create an exciting new gateway to the capital region. It'll create an airport terminal experience that we think is one that will be exciting for our travelers, but also safer, more secure, less stressful, more environmentally friendly. It'll be using smart technologies, sustainable energy, and so it is a tremendous project that's going to create hundreds, literally hundreds of new construction jobs for the region. And I think I've used this statistic before when I've spoken with you, but ACI, Airport Council International, estimates that for every dollar invested in airport infrastructure, there's a $2.50 economic benefit to the regional community that airport exists in. So this is a great project for the airport. It's a great project for the region. It will showcase the beauty of the region. I'm excited for our county. I think that you'll be excited when you see the final renderings. We're in the process of completing those now. And I have Kelly and Rich here who head the team at CHA that's working on the engineering. They're at 100% design development on that project. Also, as part of that team is Gensler Architectural. Gensler is the world's leading aviation architectural firm in 2022. They led over 55 other architectural firms in terms of the amount of business that they have done in designing iconic airports throughout the world, including JFK and San Francisco. So we're thrilled to have their talents working on this project. We also have Turner Construction working on the project as our construction manager. They all know that I have a $100 million budget that I need to keep within that $100 million budget. CHA has done exhaustive analysis of that budget. They've compared those numbers with Turner. Turner has brought in a third-party validator, so we feel really comfortable with where we are. We let out and awarded the first bid package, and Chris can talk to you about the next bid packages, which are going to be let out within the next few weeks, the project labor agreement, and the exciting team that we have in place on the project. Chris?
Thanks, Phil. So, yes, how I follow that, but a lot of exciting things going on at the airport, and thank you for having us this evening. And when we met last, it was to approve the capital plan again and to add this funding that we were about to receive from the state of New York to do this great project. Since then, just by way of an update, what has happened is our team with CHA and Turner Construction has been working constantly on getting documents together to make sure we stay in this very tight time frame of the state's mandate that this be done in 2 years. As a part of that, documents are ever being created and bids are going out. In addition, a PLA has been negotiated. That's a part of every bid document that goes out. We've been doing outreach to MWBE, DBE. Recently, we hosted an event at the airport for MWBE to advertise and encourage participation for those groups. And in addition, we attended an event hosted by the ECA, Eastern Contractors Association, to promote this project. That's been part of our early communication on what we're doing and getting things out and making sure we have a really good, robust participation when we put these bids out. So far, we have one of 7, I think, 7 bids that are out. Our first bid that went out and it went out primarily early for the purpose of ensuring there's a lot of industry lags and time constraints with getting certain types of equipment in. So recently we just awarded our elevator escalator bid package. That's bid package 1. Bid package 2 is out. That's site work. That's due back on June 8th. June 8th, yeah. Then we have mechanical and electrical and building envelope. So there's several bid packages that are going out. Each and every one of them is going to include the PLA and certain requirements that need to be met by not only New York State, but by the federal government. So that continues to happen, and every day, you know, we work to streamline exactly how and when everything is going to begin. We don't know when it's going to begin just yet, but it's going to be this summer, and you know, we intend to have a groundbreaking in the summer.
A lot of it is dependent on, there's, you know, obviously, majority of the money comes through the state grant. And so, for example, renderings still have to be reviewed by final renderings have to be reviewed by the Department of Transportation, ultimately by the governor. And then, you know, the next steps in terms of announcements, groundbreaking, will be dependent on their schedules.
Any questions from you?
Oh, I just have a question. The June 20th public hearing, where will that be?
It's going to be at CHA's offices. What's your
3 Winter
address?
Circle.
3 Winter Circle.
Right on Wolf Road,
Okay.
right behind the Marriott is our offices.
They've got a nice conference room, and I think the hours we're doing are what, 5 to 7?
5 to 7.
But it's not a formal presentation, it's station-based, so you'll be able to come at a time that works for you during that window and not worry about missing any of the content.
So it's a large space, so we can
Yeah.
accommodate.
And that will be a series of public hearings? That will be the first of how many?
That's the first, and I believe there's another one in the fall, which is tentative, but that would be more for the finished product, even to have the whole product done this year. So if there is a need for a second one, it would be in the fall. And if we do that, we'll absolutely get you that date in advance.
Okay, thank you.
It's hard to believe, but Mr. Bergdorf wants to ask a question.
If it's construction and it's the airport, I have a question. What is the structure under which you're awarding your contract? So is it going under WIX, or is it design and build, or is it single prime? What are you doing?
So all of our bids are going out under New York State procurement law, and we've negotiated a PLA, so it's all
Okay,
going
but in
out.
some instances with a PLA, you don't have to go with 4 prime bidders, you can go use alternate delivery systems. But are you saying
We
you
are.
are going for 4,
Yes.
a minimum of
Yes.
4 primes?
Yes.
Okay, are you using a construction manager?
Yes, Turner.
Sure. Has there been an effort in designing the bid packages so that you can break off pieces that are manageable by MWBEs?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so.
So currently there's 6 bid packages,
Yeah,
potentially 7, based on relocation of TSA equipment, which is completely separate. And each bid package is funded by either solely state
Yep.
money or a combination of state and federal money. So that determines whether it's MWBE or DBE, one or the other.
okay. Have you adopted the same goals for MBEs that the county uses? Or are you using different goals,
We're using the state goals under the grant.
which is the 30%?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yes.
in total, yes, yep.
36 with that
Six,
seat,
yep.
yes.
Can you speak that up? That was my question. I can't hear
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what the response was, so I'm just asking you, those goals that you just quoted.
36% total,
Very good.
including SDV of being 6%.
It's far in excess of what the county
And that
requires.
applies to both our design team
Yep.
and the construction, so it's separate.
Are any of your prime contractors that have bidded so far, or do you have any joint ventures or subcontracts with the design team for MWBEs?
From a design perspective, yes, absolutely.
CHA is like far exceeded.
Yeah, we have 11 outside consultants
Okay.
to incorporate all of that. I can't speak to the contractors, but from the design perspective, absolutely.
Great, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And
Like,
so
you're
far,
after the goals
the
and,
first bid we put out,
and you've sort of thought it through.
Yeah.
How about that?
So the bids, the proposal that you sent out, and you said you've gotten
6.
6, are those available for review? Because I'd like to see what,
They're not out
Well,
yet, only one.
Only one,
One
well, yeah, one has been out and has been awarded. That's the elevators and escalators. Bid package 2 is out right now on the street. It's due back on June 8th. If you'd like to receive the bid packages or the schedule, I can email that to you directly.
just so I can, I guess I'm interested in knowing what the parameters were, so when you get the response, I'd like to see how the people who are responding have addressed particularly the MWBE issue, not only in terms of just the construction, but the utilization rate
Mhm.
that they will employ in terms of addressing the MWBE parameters that you have put out. I mean, this is another major opportunity that we have here in Albany County, and we want to make sure that the benefits are spread as wide as possible in terms of people who might have access to opportunity, be it as a small business or as a worker.
Absolutely.
So but I can't help the situation if I don't know what you put out there. So I just would like to know what you.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Any other questions from members? Nope.
Phil, you know that I care about the green stuff, right?
Yep.
I was at an Earth Day event with Dan, and he made the statement, I want Albany County to be the greenest county in the state of New York. And I can list on my hand, and I know which counties we're competing with. But part of that is going to be what happens at the airport. That's the gateway. That's where so many business people are coming in to think, do I want to locate a green business here in New York? We have various things the county's doing to encourage that through the Stage Act and other things. So the way you pitch the greenness of your airport is going to really matter in terms of affecting the decision makers about who wants to locate green businesses in Albany County if they're not already here. How are they going to get here? They're going to come to the airport, most likely. So I know we have another committee meeting that's supposed to get started soon, so I don't want a big elaborate discussion now, but maybe at the public meeting or maybe at other points, we can talk to the legislature more about your green initiatives. I realize you can't take the fossil fuel out of the jets so easily, and that's probably not the decision we make. But what we could influence would be the ground vehicles, you know, how we move the freight around, all those things. When I was doing the hydrogen work at NYSERDA, I knew there was a lot of research going on in that space.
Yep.
So those are areas where we could have a influence in terms of the greenhouse gas impact of the, you know, what we can talk about. We could actually promote that as when you get off the plane and you're landing at the airport, you're going to see stuff about, hey, we got solar panels on the roof, we got this, we got that, we got electric vehicle charging stations, whatever. That's all kind of part of that image that we can create for the county.
I'm with you 100%. I'm so proud of the county executives' comment about wanting to be the greenest county. We want to be the greenest airport. We were one of the first airports in the world, again, to achieve ACI carbon neutral accreditation. I made the commitment to make our airport carbon neutral by 2035. We're working with teams from GE Research and Development. We're working with RPI professors, both the deans of the School of Science and Engineering. We're working with Plug Power. We have a whole host of partners to try to help us achieve carbon neutrality. This project is being designed so that it's compatible with geothermal energy. We are working with NYSERDA to get geothermal ultimately to power the terminal. We're looking to work with Plug on powering ground equipment. We're working with Millionaire for sustainable aviation fuel in our jet fuel supply. So we have a whole host of initiatives that we're looking at to achieve our carbon neutrality.
If we can follow through on that,
I'd love to.
we're going to have a
Yeah.
really dynamite message
Yep.
to deliver to those executives when they get off those planes.
Yep, absolutely.
At both airports.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I think Chairman Joyce wanted to.
Good. Thank you. Sorry I'm late. I want to thank you all for coming down. It was the airport authority that reached out to us to come down and update us and lean in under your plan, and we appreciate you coming out. And we want to set up a recurring meeting, hopefully every other month. Come down and update us. And you know, again, to echo Carolyn's comments and Bill's comments, we're here to help and be facilitators and to help spread the message and promote this tremendous asset that we have here in the county. So thank you again.
We appreciate the invitation, Mr. Chairman, and we also extend an invitation to all of you to come and see the airport. It looks great now, but it's going to be even better. So anytime any of you want to come or as a group, we'd love to host you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.